already attacking Iran. I mean, Israel's plainly behind the assassinations and the sabotage, and we don't quite say so, but open admission. In fact, some high-use official recently asserted that the Israeli Mossad, their CIA, basically is using Iranian terrorist groups designated by the U.S. as terrorist groups to carry out assassinations inside Iran. The only question is, will it go up to a direct military attack? Israel is trying very hard to get the United States to attack Iran. That's obviously what they would prefer. So far, the U.S. is backing off. It looks as though U.S. military intelligence don't want to get involved with a bombing of Iran. It would have all kind of, not out of any love for Iranians, but they're afraid of the consequences. Israel might do it themselves, can't tell. If they got a clear order from the United States not to do it, then they wouldn't. But if it's what's sometimes called a yellow light, we don't say yes, but we don't say no, then they might. And in fact, it could be within the next few months. Their line is that if they wait a couple more months, Iran will be able to make the nuclear enrichment facilities impregnable. I don't have any idea whether this is true. I don't care, but anyway, that's the line that they're using. It's kind of interesting. What's interesting, and I think we should consider carefully, is the general assumption here that it's only a question of what the costs would be. So, in other words, if we could do it without cost, it would be the right thing to do. That's kind of almost across the spectrum. But maybe it's too costly for us. The sanctions are basically an act of war. They, in fact, if actually there was a group of NATO generals recently, a year or two ago, issued a long statement about what would constitute acts of war that would entitle the United States to, in fact, even use first use of nuclear weapons. And one of them was manipulation of the financial system. Well, what we're doing is cutting Iran off from from the global financial system. And we're doing it by putting pressure on other countries. So the most recent and important was to get Belgium which runs the international telecommunication system for banks, to essentially cut out Iran. This is essentially an act of war. The sanctions are having the predicted effect. They're harming the population. You can read articles, New York Times explaining kind of upbeat articles saying that the sanctions working, that people don't have bread, they're starving, they can't bring food into the country, it's great. That's what sanctions do. Sanctions in Iraq were the same. The two international diplomats, respectively, international diplomats who administered the oil for food program, that was supposed to be the generous part of the sanction. They both resigned, charging it was genocidal. And they were essentially cut out of the U.S. media. Couldn't comment. But sure, that's what sanctions do. We've had 50 years of embargo against Cuba. It seriously harms the population. That's the point. In fact, if you look back to the origins of the sanctions of the Kennedy years, high officials just said straight out, if we can make the population suffer, then maybe they'll throw the government. What makes Iran a threat? Try to find some discussion of that. Actually, there is discussion. There's even an authoritative answer. but it's not reported and discussed. It comes from the Pentagon and the U.S. intelligence agencies in their annual presentations to Congress on the global security system. They, of course, talk about Iran. And they review the Iranian threat and take it very seriously. But we can learn a lot about ourselves by seeing what the threat is. The threat is basically deterrence. They might deter U.S. actions, and that's intolerable if you own the world and have to be free to do anything you want anywhere in the world. They don't think that Iran has the capacity to deploy force and say, no, of course it doesn't. And I don't think any strategic analyst in his right mind thinks that even if Iran had nuclear